The resemblance. Once I was walking in the center of Cordoba, and I passed someone who looked so much like me that I greeted them, thinking it was me. We all have a resemblance, but it's not easy to find it because of the differences in time and space. I resemble a person who yesterday thought of writing this, and now I'm writing it, but I can't find the person who yesterday thought of existing today. I am the closest thing I have to myself. I imagine and create myself every moment, but I never finish inventing myself. It's difficult to begin to be the person I imagine and not the one others imagine me to be. If I were 100% invented as I imagine myself, it would mean nothing more than that I imagined my being. I would be entirely my own creation and imagined only by me. Because if I didn't let others imagine me, I wouldn't exist for others, I would disappear from the world, I would be just imagination. Sometimes I feel fear, sometimes distrust, sometimes anguish over my decisions, over my actions, because they are not actions I imagined, they are my actions but imagined by everyone, they are my decisions but made by all those who imagine me, those who build me, those who make me exist. I could never imagine myself 100%, I would never decide 100% of my actions, my decisions, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to express myself to you with this writing. I wouldn't be here to do it, you wouldn't be able to imagine me writing this. I wouldn't want to, not be, by over-imagining myself. The problem is that if I am here it is because you have already imagined me, because I depend on you. My imagination would be very selfish towards myself if I distanced it from you, who give me form, space, time and dimension, who attribute actions, emotions, impulses to me, who create me, imagine me, invent me, see me, hear me. I can't get rid of myself, I need it, I cherish it, I depend on it to express myself, to interact, to be me. That self I encountered in downtown Cordoba, the one who wanted to write this, who reminds me that yesterday one self thought, and today another self wrote, and now I'm analyzing it, me, the one most similar to my true self, the one you create daily through interaction with my imagination. The self I'm talking about has little to do with the psychoanalytic self. The self I'm talking about is the being, the one you create and imagine in interaction with my imagination. It's the closest thing to my true self, but it isn't my true self. It's the closest thing to it, but it isn't it. Most people are confused, believing themselves to be a person, but the being is far from that. The being is being. Each one is a self, not a person, and the self is composed of one part, the largest, of influences, and on the other hand, the person. We are those who resemble our true self. Person and interaction compose the resemblance. When one is born as a person, but one immediately ceases to be so when others imagine you, create you, see you, project you into the future, begin to chart the course of your life, and you become a likeness, the closest thing to your true self. The closest approximations to a person occur when one likeness has sexual relations with another likeness. The excitement produces such a state of concentration that one sets aside all influence over their actions and decisions. When this excitement culminates, influence returns in the form of guilt. The same happens with some drugs, like alcohol, they are human dependencies. With them, one often approaches the source of excitement that sets aside influences. One approaches one's personal ethics, one's personal morality, one's personal imagination. One doesn't think about codes or taboos. It is the way of approaching what one is by one's own creation. This brings well-being, although later it fills us with guilt, reproaches, shame. Sometimes it causes anguish, and other times it even depresses us. There is a daily struggle between wanting and not wanting to be a person. The rules of society prevent us from being a person. Ethics, morality, the law, good and evil, judgment. All these things turn us into a small part of an immense person, a collective person with a collective morality and ethics. We share jobs, inventions, and studies. Why do we use cars, inventions that aren't ours? Why don't we seek our own means of transportation? Why don't we invent our own theories and recipes and stop reading others? Why are we afraid to be a person on our own? To be a single person, not part of a larger whole? We fear being alone, without interacting, because in solitude we would find ourselves, and surely a person untouched by collective moral and ethical influences, guided solely by our own person, our ethics, and our morals, would not be accepted by society. And we have become dependent on this society. We are genetically programmed slaves. We will live as slaves to our society and its rules. We will never be truly individuals. We will never create our own thoughts, only be influenced, only conform to the times, to social demands, which I don't know why, but we need them. We are followers. We want to know. We want to be part of that great person. We don't want to distance ourselves from it. It starts at birth, which is why I say we are genetic slaves. From birth, we begin the struggle to become part of the microcosm that is the family, and over time, the ambition to belong grows. A person, in trying to escape being an individual, to avoid carrying that responsibility, begins to seek knowledge, to perfectly fulfill the demands of that great person. There are those who stray so far from who they are, their selves so contaminated by influences, that they cease to feel authentic, they cease to understand themselves, they unleash the struggle to become an individual again, to distance themselves from the collective persona. Some spend their lives without being able to find themselves, or perhaps, to resemble, to approach that person they lost at birth. Some people realize this and begin to manage the situation. They accept themselves as a kind of person, accepting the influences to a certain extent, without abandoning their own thoughts, theories, and ideas. The most difficult thing to let go of is the collective morality. Some of these, like people, realize this and experience a rebellion against such psychic manipulation. The psychic revolution of these, like people, is such that their search for their true self becomes exaggerated, considered pathological in psychology, where at times they even act according to their own morals and ethics. Perhaps the most difficult step is approaching their true self. The problem is that this approach is neither total nor free, much less unconscious or free from guilt, as it should be. It is done through conscious acts, far from being pure, infected by influences. These are not spontaneous acts. They forget how to be a person and must invent it. It is no longer possible, simply because they have known collective morals, ethics, and laws, to rid themselves of these influences.